There comes a time in life when your heart is heavy, your spirit is tired, and your soul is whispering a quiet truth you've ignored for too long. You've been tolerating what you never deserved. Too many people walk through life thinking they have to endure disrespect to keep the peace, stay silent to be loved, or shrink themselves just to fit into a world that never had room for their light. But let me tell you something right now. Peace bought with your dignity is not peace. The peace love that breaks your spirit is not love. And silence in the face of pain is not strength, it's surrender. You didn't come this far to be broken down by people who don't value your worth. You weren't created to live life at the mercy of toxic behavior. Some things, no matter how normal the world tries to make them, should never be accepted. Not in your relationships, not in your family, not in your workplace, not in your life. You've got one soul, one heart, one life. And when you finally learn to say enough is enough, that's when healing begins. That's when growth starts. That's when God begins to move differently in your life. Let's talk about the 6 unacceptable behaviors you should never tolerate. Number 1, consistent disrespect. You've been there before, haven't you? Feeling small in the presence of someone who's supposed to care, but instead they chip away at your spirit with words and actions that leave invisible scars. It's the kind of disrespect that doesn't just sting once, it lingers. It's not a single moment, but a steady drip that drowns your confidence, your hope, and your worth. Consistent disrespect is like a poison slowly infecting your soul. And if you're honest with yourself, you know deep down that you never signed up for this. But here's the truth that most people are afraid to say. You don't have to accept it. Not from anyone. Not ever. Disrespect can wear many masks. It can be the dismissive tone when you try to speak up, the eye roll when you share your dreams, or the cold silence that follows your pain. It's the constant interruptions that tell you your voice doesn't matter, the sarcastic comments disguised as jokes, or the blatant disregard for your boundaries. When someone consistently disrespects you, they're sending a clear message. You are less than me. Your feelings, your time, your presence, none of it matters. And that message is a lie. You are more than enough, even when others fail to see it. Let me be clear. Consistent disrespect isn't just about rude behavior or occasional harsh words. It's a pattern. It's a lifestyle some people choose because they want power over you, because they want to keep you small, because they want to control the narrative of who you are. And the worst part, it often comes disguised as love, toughness, or just being honest. But there is nothing honest about tearing someone down so you can feel taller. Nothing loving about breaking someone's spirit to feed your own ego. You might think, maybe if I just try harder, they'll stop. Or maybe I deserve this because I haven't been perfect. But let me tell you something no one else will. Nobody deserves to be disrespected, not once, and certainly not consistently. You were born with dignity, and that dignity is not negotiable. When you tolerate disrespect, you are giving away your power, piece by piece. And one day you'll wake up and wonder how you ended up feeling so invisible in your own life. There's a subtle but dangerous trap in accepting disrespect. It begins to change how you see yourself. You start doubting your worth. You question if your dreams are too big, if your emotions are too much, if your voice is too loud. That's the silent thief of disrespect. It steals your identity, your confidence, your light. And once that happens, you're no longer living your truth. You're living the story someone else wrote for you, a story of limitation and defeat. But here's the moment that changes everything. When you decide that enough is enough. When you finally recognize that consistent disrespect is not a normal part of relationships, not a sign of tough love, but a violation of your soul's integrity. This moment might come quietly, maybe after years of pain, or it might hit you like a lightning bolt. Either way, when you say, I will not tolerate this anymore, you reclaim your power. You stand up not just for yourself, but for the version of you that's been buried under all that disrespect. Reclaiming your dignity isn't about fighting fire with fire. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about standing firm in your worth and setting boundaries that protect your heart. It's about having the courage to walk away from those who refuse to treat you with the respect you deserve. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's scary. But nothing worth having is ever easy. And the freedom you gain on the other side of standing up for yourself, that freedom is priceless. You must understand that respect is a two-way street. If you give respect, you deserve respect in return. And if you don't receive it, it's not your job to fix the other person. It's your job to protect your heart. No one else can do this for you. You are the guardian of your peace, the keeper of your dignity, the one who decides what is acceptable and what is not in your life. Now I want you to think about the people in your life who consistently disrespect you. Think about the times they interrupted your dreams, ignored your pain, or dismissed your voice. Holding on to that pain doesn't serve you, but neither does ignoring it. The first step to healing is acknowledging the truth of what you've endured and recognizing that it's okay to demand better, not just from others, but from yourself. Because here's the thing, consistent disrespect doesn't define you, but how you respond to it will. You can continue to tolerate it and watch your spirit shrink, or you can stand tall, draw a line in the sand and say, no more. You have the power to decide who stays in your life and who must go. You have the strength to walk away from what harms you and to step into a life where respect is non-negotiable. And when you do that, the world shifts. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. People show up differently because you show up differently. You attract respect, love, and honor, not because you demand it angrily, but because you embody it with quiet confidence. That's the power of refusing to tolerate consistent disrespect. It's the power to live fully, freely, and fiercely. So hear me loud and clear. Never settle for less than the respect you deserve. Not in your friendships, not in your family, not in your workplace, and certainly not in your love life. Respect is the foundation upon which your peace, joy, and success are built. Protect it fiercely, guard it jealously, and never apologize for expecting it. You owe that much to yourself. You owe that much to the world, because when you refuse to tolerate consistent disrespect, you send a message not only to those around you, but to your own heart. I am worthy. I am valuable. And I will be treated with the honor that I deserve. Emotional manipulation. There's a weight that no one sees, a quiet battle that rages inside your mind every day, leaving you second guessing everything you feel, everything you believe, everything you are. This is the war that emotional manipulation wages, an invisible silent siege that twists your reality and makes you question your own sanity. It's not just about someone being unfair or hurtful. It's about someone deliberately breaking down your sense of truth so they can control you. And if you've ever felt trapped in this fog, wondering if you're too sensitive or if the problem is really inside you, listen carefully. This is not your fault. And you are not crazy. Emotional manipulation is a master thief. It steals your confidence, your peace, your clarity. It's a weapon wielded by those who want to bend you to their will without accountability. The guilt trips, the gaslighting, the subtle digs that make you doubt your memories, your feelings, your worth. They are calculated. They are designed to keep you off balance so you don't stand up, so you don't leave, so you don't fight back. Manipulators don't just want to win arguments. They want to win your soul. Many times, emotional manipulation hides under the cloak of love or care. I'm just worried about you, they say, while twisting your mind with fear and doubt. Or I'm only telling you the truth while planting seeds of insecurity that grow into forests of self-doubt. They play on your kindness, your empathy, your desire to believe the best in people. And because you want to trust, because you want to believe, you stay trapped in the cycle longer than you should. When someone manipulates you emotionally, they are telling you that your feelings don't matter unless they serve their agenda. They gaslight you by denying things you know to be true, leaving you dizzy and confused. They might even blame you for how they make you feel, turning the table so you carry the burden of their toxicity. That's not love. That's control disguised as care. And it's one of the cruelest lies a person can tell. You might think, if I just explain myself better, if I just try harder, they'll stop. But emotional manipulation doesn't end because you become more patient or more accommodating. It ends when you stop giving your power away. It ends when you recognize that the manipulation is about their need for control, not your need for approval. And most importantly, it ends when you decide you will no longer tolerate being a pawn in someone else's game. The hardest part is how invisible emotional manipulation is. There are no bruises, no scars, only the wounds no one can see but you. It can make you feel isolated, like no one else understands why you feel so broken or confused. It's a loneliness that gnaws at your soul, but you are not alone. And acknowledging the manipulation is the first step toward freedom. Freedom doesn't mean rushing into anger or revenge. Freedom means reclaiming your mind and your heart. Freedom means setting boundaries that protect your emotional space from being invaded. Freedom means learning to trust yourself again, to listen to your instincts, and to honor your feelings without apology. This journey is difficult, but it is necessary. You deserve relationships where your feelings are honored, where your voice is heard, and where your reality is respected. You deserve love that lifts you up, not tears you down. You deserve peace that doesn't come with strings attached or silent threats wrapped in sweet words. Emotional manipulation is a betrayal of trust, and no one has the right to betray your trust, least of all someone who claims to love you. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, moments when the manipulator's voice echoes in your head louder than your own. In those moments, remember this: you have the right to your own truth. You have the right to say no. You have the right to walk away from people who make you question who you are, and you have the right to heal. Healing from emotional manipulation is a process of rediscovering yourself. It's about peeling away the layers of lies and confusion until you find the pure, unshaken core of who you are. And when you find that core, you realize something powerful. You are stronger than you ever thought possible. You are wiser than the manipulation that tried to trap you. You are free. So when you recognize emotional manipulation, don't ignore it, don't excuse it, don't justify it. Stand firm, speak your truth, protect your heart, because your emotional well-being is sacred. It is not negotiable. It is not a bargaining chip in someone else's game. You are worthy of respect, honesty, and love that does not manipulate. Never tolerate emotional manipulation, not from a lover, a friend, a family member, or a colleague. When you refuse to tolerate it, you break the cycle, not just for yourself, but for everyone who will follow your example. You become a beacon of strength, a living testament that no one's mind or heart should ever be a battlefield. Hold on to that truth, carry it with you every day, and live your life on your terms. Because your peace, your clarity, your sanity, they are worth fighting for. And I promise you this: when you take back your power from emotional manipulation, the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Your spirit soars, your heart heals, and your life becomes a story of victory. Number 3, lack of accountability. There's something deeply unsettling about living or working with someone who never takes responsibility for their actions. It's like walking on shifting sands, never knowing where you stand or what's coming next. When people refuse to hold themselves accountable, it creates chaos around them. Not just chaos in tasks or promises, but chaos in trust, in relationships, and in your very sense of safety. You start to feel like you're the only one trying to keep things real, while the other person floats away on a cloud of excuses and blame. That feeling of being alone in truth is draining, and it's unacceptable. Accountability is the foundation of integrity. It's the quiet strength that says, I'm responsible for what I say, what I do, and how I affect others. When someone lacks accountability, they're essentially saying, I'm not responsible for my mistakes, my failures, or my impact on you. And that's a dangerous place to be, because it removes any sense of reliability or trustworthiness. Without accountability, promises become empty words, commitments become burdens, and respect becomes a one-sided transaction. You might think maybe they just don't know better, or maybe they're struggling. But accountability isn't about perfection, it's about ownership. It's about standing in the fire and saying, I messed up, and I'm going to fix it. People who truly have accountability don't hide behind excuses or point fingers. They own their truth, their flaws, and their growth. And that's why accountability is not optional, it's essential. Lack of accountability often shows up as blaming others. It's always someone else's fault, the circumstances, the timing, the people around them. This kind of behavior puts everyone else in a reactive position, constantly cleaning up messes that shouldn't be theirs. It breeds resentment because you carry the weight of someone else's mistakes while they walk away unscathed. That's unfair. That's toxic, and it's something you must never tolerate. You might ask, what about forgiveness? Shouldn't we be understanding? Yes, forgiveness is powerful, but forgiveness is not a free pass. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing someone to keep hurting you by refusing to take responsibility. True forgiveness is rooted in accountability. It's the recognition that someone is willing to own their mistakes and make amends. Without that, forgiveness becomes self-betrayal. When someone refuses accountability, they also refuse growth. Growth requires humility, the courage to admit when you're wrong, and the willingness to change. Without accountability, there's no room for growth, no room for trust to rebuild, no room for relationships to deepen. You deserve to be around people who want to grow, not those who want to stay stuck, dragging you down with them in your life. The lack of accountability shows itself in small ways and big ways. It could be someone who constantly breaks promises or who can't apologize sincerely. It might be a coworker who never owns their part of the failure, or a friend who always deflects blame. These patterns chip away at your peace. They drain your energy. They erode your confidence in others, and sometimes painfully even in yourself. But here's the liberating truth. You have the power to stop tolerating it. You don't have to carry the weight of someone else's irresponsibility. You don't have to be the fixer, the excuse maker, or the emotional cleaner. When you say no more, you send a powerful message to them, and more importantly to yourself, that you will no longer settle for less than respect and honesty. Setting boundaries around accountability is not about punishing others. It's about protecting yourself. It's about creating a space where honesty and responsibility thrive, where people are encouraged to grow, and where relationships are built on trust. That kind of environment is rare and precious, and it begins with your refusal to tolerate excuses and blame. You owe it to yourself to surround your life with people who rise to their own standards and inspire you to do the same. Because when accountability is present, relationships become partnerships, work becomes collaboration, and life becomes a shared journey of respect and integrity. Without it, you're just surviving in a world of chaos. So make a vow to yourself today. Never tolerate lack of accountability. Not from your family, your friends, your coworkers, or your leaders. Demand honesty, demand ownership, and demand respect. When you do, you don't just change your relationships, you change your life. You step into a space of peace, strength, and authenticity that no excuse can ever take away. Because accountability isn't just about admitting faults, it's about standing tall with courage and integrity. It's about saying, I am responsible for me, and inspiring others to do the same. That's the kind of power worth fighting for. And that's the kind of life you deserve. Number 4, chronic lying. There's a unique kind of heartbreak that comes with discovering someone you trusted has been living a life built on lies. It's a betrayal that cuts deeper than any physical wound because it shatters your sense of reality and safety when someone lies to you again and again. Chronic lying, they don't just distort the truth, they fracture the foundation of trust that holds relationships together. It's like building a house on sand, knowing any moment it could crumble. And once that foundation breaks, everything else feels uncertain, unstable, and unsafe. That is why chronic lying is one behavior you can never tolerate. Lies aren't just words, they are weapons. Every lie is a choice to twist reality, to avoid responsibility, or to manipulate how others see the world. Chronic liars don't just hide the truth occasionally. They live in a web of deceit that grows tighter and thicker with every new falsehood. Their lies become a mask, hiding who they really are while dragging everyone around them into confusion and mistrust. And the worst part? You start to question your own judgment, doubting what you know to be true. Sometimes chronic liars lie not just to protect themselves, but to control the narrative, to manipulate others' emotions and decisions. They create a story where they always look good, where they're never at fault, where the world is always against them. And in this distorted world, you become a pawn left chasing shadows and trying to piece together what's real. That kind of manipulation isn't just hurtful, it's soul-crushing. The problem with chronic lying is that it creates a dangerous pattern. Every time you catch a lie, your trust shrinks a little more. Every excuse given, every story changed, adds to a mountain of doubt that grows so tall you feel like you'll never climb out. You can no longer rely on what you hear, what you see, or what you feel. You become tired, exhausted, and emotionally drained from trying to find truth in a sea of deception. Chronic lying is not a small mistake or a one-time slip. It's a habitual escape from reality. It's a refusal to face consequences and a denial of truth. And that refusal does damage not just to the person being lied to, but to the liar themselves. Because living in lies means living without peace, without authenticity, and without real connection. You deserve better than to be tangled in someone else's false stories. There's also a loneliness that comes with chronic lying. The liar hides behind walls of deceit, afraid to be seen for who they truly are. But that hiding only isolates them more, and often their lies spiral out of control, creating chaos in every relationship, and those who love them suffer in silence, caught between hope for change and the reality of constant betrayal. You might find yourself making excuses for the liar, telling yourself They're just like that, or they mean well. But chronic lying isn't a character flaw to accept. It's a serious breach of respect and trust. It's a sign of deeper issues that require honesty and accountability to heal. And if that honesty never comes, then you must protect yourself by refusing to tolerate it. Living with someone who lies chronically means you live in a world where facts are twisted, promises are broken, and truths are buried under layers of deception. It means you're never truly safe to be open, vulnerable, or authentic because you never know when the next lie will strike. And that kind of emotional exhaustion is something no one should endure. You have to remind yourself that you deserve truth. You deserve clarity. You deserve to be with people who speak honestly, who admit mistakes, who value your trust enough not to break it. When you insist on truth in your life, you create a space where real connection can grow, one built on honesty, respect, and integrity. Breaking free from chronic lying means breaking free from the chaos and confusion it causes. It means standing firm in your demand for honesty, even when it's hard. It means refusing to accept half-truths or stories that don't add up. It means honoring yourself enough to walk away when the lies become too much to bear. You owe yourself the freedom of truth. You owe yourself the peace that comes from knowing you're not living in a world of shadows and deceit. So never tolerate chronic lying, not from a partner, a friend, a coworker, or anyone. When you refuse to accept lies, you reclaim your power and protect your heart from being broken again and again. Because at the end of the day, truth is the only foundation strong enough to build a life on. And living with lies is living with a heart chained to uncertainty. Choose truth. Choose freedom. Choose a life where you are honored, respected, and loved honestly. Number 5, one-sided relationships. There is a profound kind of loneliness that comes from being in a relationship where you give everything and the other side gives back barely a fraction. You pour your heart out, offer your time, your energy, your love, but it feels like you're shouting into an empty room. That feeling of being alone while standing right next to someone is one of the most painful experiences anyone can endure. It's emotionally exhausting and spiritually draining, and it's absolutely unacceptable. One-sided relationships are not just unfair, they are toxic. When you find yourself constantly giving, adjusting, and compromising while receiving little to nothing in return, it's a red flag screaming for your attention. Relationships are meant to be partnerships, a balance of give and take. When that balance is missing, you are left carrying a burden that wasn't meant for you alone. It's like trying to keep a fire burning with one stick. You will eventually run out of fuel and be left in the cold. The danger of one-sided relationships is that they slowly erode your self-worth. You begin to question if you are enough, if your love is valued, or if you're simply invisible to the person you care for. The constant effort without recognition chips away at your confidence and leaves behind a hollow ache. You start to believe the lie that your feelings don't matter or that your needs are unimportant. That lie will destroy you if you let it. Sometimes you stay in these relationships because of hope or fear, hope that things will change, fear of being alone or fear of confrontation. But hope without action is a trap, and fear without boundaries is a cage. You must understand that your love and effort deserve to be reciprocated. You deserve someone who meets you halfway, who values your heart as much as you value theirs. One-sided relationships don't just drain you emotionally. They steal your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. When you are constantly giving and never receiving, your life becomes a cycle of frustration and disappointment. You might find yourself making excuses for the other person, minimizing your feelings, or convincing yourself it's not that bad. But deep down, you know the truth. You are tired of carrying the load alone. The reality is, love and friendship are not about who can give more or who can suffer longer. They are about mutual respect, shared effort, and genuine care. If you're always the one initiating contact, always the one making plans, always the one sacrificing, then you are not in a relationship. You are in a lopsided transaction. And that's a place no one should be stuck in. It's important to recognize the signs early and not dismiss your feelings. Feeling unappreciated, unheard, or unseen are not normal parts of love. They are alarms. Your emotions are your compass telling you that something is wrong. Listen to that voice inside because it's trying to protect you from ongoing pain. You deserve relationships that lift you up, not tear you down. When you decide to stop tolerating one-sided relationships, you take back your power. You stop being a caretaker of someone else's emotions at the expense of your own well-being. You start setting boundaries that protect your heart and your happiness. And yes, setting boundaries can be scary. It can mean difficult conversations, disappointments, or even endings. But it's necessary for your growth and peace. One-sided relationships also teach us a hard truth. Not everyone values you as you value them. That's not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their inability or unwillingness to meet you where you are. Understanding this is painful but freeing because it shifts the focus back to you and your healing. It means you don't have to fight for love or attention that should come naturally. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming yourself, thinking maybe you're too much or too demanding or not enough. But one-sided relationships aren't about your deficiencies. They are about someone else's limits. It's about their choices, their priorities, and their inability to give what you deserve. You must refuse to carry the weight of their shortcomings on your shoulders. Healing from a one-sided relationship requires courage, the courage to face the truth, to accept the pain, and to make the hard decision to walk away. But it also opens the door for something better. Relationships where love is a two-way street, where respect is mutual, and where your presence is celebrated, not tolerated. That's the kind of love you were meant to have. Remember, it's not selfish to want balance, it's essential. It's not selfish to want reciprocity, it's necessary for your emotional survival. Love and respect aren't privileges, they are your right. When you demand them, you honor yourself and set the standard for everyone else. And that standard should never be negotiable. You deserve relationships that nurture your soul, that fuel your dreams, and that make you feel alive, not drained. You deserve to be with people who show up, who listen, who care deeply, and who cherish you as much as you cherish them. When you refuse to tolerate one-sidedness, you open your life to genuine connection and real joy. So make this your declaration today. Never settle for less than a relationship where love flows both ways. Never accept the loneliness of giving without receiving. Stand firm in your worth, guard your heart, and step boldly into a life where your love is honored, returned, and celebrated every single day. Number 6, aggression or intimidation. There's a shadow that falls over the soul when someone close to you uses aggression or intimidation as a way to control or dominate. It's not just about angry words or harsh tones. It's a deep, unsettling force that steals your peace and makes you doubt your own worth. When someone tries to silence you through fear, they rob you of your voice, your confidence, and your freedom. Aggression and intimidation are not signs of strength. They are signs of weakness. And they are absolutely unacceptable in any relationship or environment. Living under the cloud of aggression or intimidation is like walking on a fragile glass floor, never knowing when it will crack beneath you. It's exhausting to constantly be alert, to watch your every word and action for fear of triggering another outburst or harsh reaction. This constant state of tension wears down your spirit, erodes your self-esteem, and traps you in a cycle of fear and submission. And no one should ever have to live like that. Aggression doesn't only mean physical violence. It shows up in many forms. It can be verbal attacks, yelling, threats, or even silent treatment used to manipulate and control. Intimidation can be subtle, a look, a gesture, a tone that makes you shrink inside. It's the slow poisoning of your emotional well-being, and it demands urgent attention because it is a dangerous pattern that grows worse over time. When you face aggression or intimidation, your natural response might be to withdraw, to avoid conflict, or to try harder to please, but these reactions don't heal the damage. They only enable the behavior to continue. It's important to recognize that no matter what you do, aggression and intimidation are never your fault. They are a choice made by the aggressor to dominate and instill fear. The toxic power of aggression is that it breaks down trust. You start to question if you are safe, if you can speak your truth, or if your feelings matter. The relationship becomes a battlefield where love and respect are replaced by control and fear. This shift is not just unhealthy, it's dangerous. It threatens your mental health and, in extreme cases, your physical safety. Intimidation is a tool often used to mask insecurity and vulnerability. The person who intimidates is trying to assert control because they feel powerless in other areas of life, but their fear and weakness should never be paid for by your suffering. You deserve to be treated with kindness, respect, and dignity, never with threats or aggression. Recognizing aggression or intimidation is the first step to breaking free. It's hard because these behaviors can be normalized or excused, especially when they come from someone you love or respect. But denial only deepens the wound. You must face the truth bravely, knowing that your safety and peace of mind are non-negotiable. When you refuse to tolerate aggression or intimidation, you reclaim your power. You tell the world and yourself that you will no longer live in fear or silence. This refusal is an act of courage and self-respect. It means setting boundaries that protect your heart and your life. It means demanding relationships where kindness and respect reign, not threats and fear. Aggression can sometimes be confused with passion or strong emotions, but there is a clear line that should never be crossed. Healthy relationships allow for disagreement without cruelty. They create space for honest dialogue, not domination or fear. If aggression or intimidation is present, the relationship is toxic and must be addressed immediately. Standing up against aggression is not always easy. It might mean walking away, seeking support, or confronting painful truths, but it's necessary for your survival and growth. You deserve relationships where your voice is heard, your feelings are valued, and your boundaries are respected. You deserve peace, not fear. It's vital to surround yourself with people who build you up rather than tear you down. People who listen without judgment, who encourage without controlling, and who love without using power as a weapon. These are the relationships that nurture your soul and help you thrive. You must also forgive yourself for any time you tolerated aggression or intimidation. It's not a sign of weakness to have stayed. It's a sign that you were human, learning and hoping for better. But now is the time to rise, to set new standards for how you will be treated, and to protect your heart fiercely. Never forget that you are worthy of respect and kindness. You are not responsible for someone else's anger or need to control. You have the right to live free from fear and intimidation. When you refuse to tolerate aggression, you create space for love that heals rather than hurts. Choose today to stand tall, speak your truth, and protect your peace. Say no to aggression and intimidation in all its forms. Demand respect, seek safety, and never settle for anything less than the love and kindness you deserve. Your heart, your soul, and your life depend on it. As we come to the close of this journey, it's essential to reflect deeply on what we've uncovered together. Life hands us many lessons, some gentle and some harsh, but the most important ones are the lessons that teach us how to protect our hearts, honor our dignity, and claim the respect we deserve. The behaviors we've talked about, those unacceptable actions that no one should ever tolerate, are not just abstract ideas. They are realities that many endure silently, trapped by fear, hope, or habit. But today, I want you to hear this clearly. You have the power to say no. You have the strength to stand firm. You have the right to demand better. To tolerate consistent disrespect is to diminish your own worth. When someone belittles you, dismisses your feelings, or treats you as less than you are, it chips away at your spirit. It's a slow erosion that leaves wounds deeper than visible scars. But respect is not optional. It's the foundation of any healthy connection. You owe it to yourself to expect it, demand it, and walk away from anything less. Your value is not measured by how much disrespect you can endure, but by how fiercely you protect your peace. Emotional manipulation is a cruel game, one that twists your feelings and distorts your reality. It preys on your vulnerabilities, making you question your sanity, your motives, even your identity. This is not love. It's control, disguised as care. Deception masquerading as affection. You must learn to recognize the signs and trust your instincts. When someone plays with your emotions to gain power over you, it's a clear sign that their intentions are not pure. You deserve honesty, transparency, and kindness, not emotional chains. Accountability is the bedrock of trust. When people refuse to own their mistakes, blame others, or avoid responsibility, they weaken the very fabric of relationships. Living with someone who never holds themselves accountable is exhausting. It feels like carrying a weight that should be shared, but is always yours alone to bear. Accountability means growth, respect, and integrity. If you are surrounded by those who shirk this essential truth, know that their behavior is unacceptable, and you do not have to accept it. Lying destroys trust like no other act. Chronic dishonesty turns relationships into mines waiting to explode. Each lie chips away at the foundation until what's left is rubble and suspicion. Trust, once broken, is incredibly hard to rebuild. When you face constant lies, your heart grows weary, your mind suspicious, and your spirit guarded. You deserve honesty. The kind that is raw, sometimes uncomfortable, but always real. Never settle for anything less. Because the truth is the soil from which genuine relationships grow. One-sided relationships drain you in ways you might not immediately see, but the toll is real and devastating. When you are always the one giving your time, your energy, your love, and receive little or nothing back, you are living a lie of connection. True relationships are about balance, mutual respect, and shared effort. If you find yourself exhausted, unappreciated, and invisible, it's time to rethink where your heart is investing. You deserve partnerships that lift you up, not ones that wear you down. Aggression and intimidation are the most dangerous behaviors of all. They crush your spirit and steal your freedom. No one has the right to make you feel unsafe or fearful, especially not those who claim to love you. True strength is shown through kindness, patience, and respect, not threats or cruelty. If you find yourself living under a cloud of fear, it's a red flag you cannot ignore. Protect yourself. Seek help, and never accept violence in any form. Your life, your peace, and your soul depend on it. What ties all these behaviors together is the same message. Your worth is non-negotiable. It's easy to forget this truth when you're caught in the storm of difficult relationships, when doubt creeps in, or when fear tells you to stay silent. But you are more powerful than any pain inflicted on you. You have a voice that deserves to be heard, a heart that deserves to be honored, and a life that deserves to be lived fully and freely. Choosing to no longer tolerate these unacceptable behaviors is not a simple decision. It's a declaration of self-love and courage. It means setting boundaries that protect your emotional well-being and demanding respect without apology. It means walking away from toxic patterns and making space for relationships that nourish your soul. This path isn't always easy. It requires bravery to face uncomfortable truths, to confront those who have hurt you, and sometimes to face loneliness. But the reward is a life filled with dignity, peace, and genuine connection. Healing starts when you acknowledge your pain without shame. It grows when you forgive yourself for any time you tolerated less than you deserved, knowing that staying was part of your journey, not your failure. It blossoms when you open your heart to those who truly value you and let go of those who only take. You are worthy of love that uplifts, respect that honors, and kindness that heals. Remember, you are not alone in this struggle. Many have walked this path before you and have found freedom on the other side of pain. Seek support when you need it. Friends, family, counselors, or communities that uplift you. Surround yourself with those who reflect the love and respect you crave. Your environment shapes your reality, so choose wisely who you allow into your circle. Never underestimate the power of your own voice. Speak your truth boldly and clearly. Stand firm in your boundaries. Refuse to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Your presence matters. Your feelings matter. Your life matters. When you hold this truth close, you become a beacon, not just for yourself, but for others who need to see that standing up is possible. In a world that often tries to break us down, your refusal to accept unacceptable behaviors is a revolutionary act. It is a testament to your strength, resilience, and self-respect. You are rewriting the story of your life. One where you are the hero, the protector, and the champion of your own heart. So today, I urge you to make a promise to yourself. Promise to never accept disrespect, manipulation, lack of accountability, lies, one-sided love, or intimidation. Promise to protect your peace fiercely and to walk away from anything that threatens it. Promise to cultivate relationships that reflect your worth and to nurture your soul with kindness and honesty. As you go forward from this moment, carry these truths with you. Let them guide your decisions, shape your boundaries, and fuel your courage. You deserve a life of respect, love, and joy. Not just sometimes, but every day. Stand tall in that knowing and let no one dim the light inside you. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you. May you find the strength to say no where you once said yes out of fear. May you find the courage to choose yourself even when it feels hard. And may you walk forward into a life where your heart is safe, your voice is heard, and your soul is free. God bless you on this journey. You are worthy. You are enough. And you are loved beyond measure.